As Anthony now begins paying the price for his conviction, Austin Metcalf's father tonight is talking only with our JD Miles about the price that his family is paying.
Is temporary, but the truth lasts forever.
For 14 months, Jeff Metcalf could not speak. A gag order imposed by the judge silenced him throughout the entire investigation, throughout the entire trial. He sat in that courtroom every single day and said nothing publicly. He watched body camera footage of his son dying and said nothing. He listened to witnesses describe the hole in his son's chest and said nothing. But he was writing every single day in a notebook, writing the words he would one day say to the man who killed his son. That day finally came. This is DTCN, Daily True Crime News, and this is what Jeff Metcalf said when they finally let him speak. At the sentencing hearing, Jeff Metcalf stood before that courtroom and read his victim impact statement, words he had been writing for 14 months. He looked directly at Karmelo Anthony and said, "The lie is temporary, but the truth lasts forever." He said, "You failed yourself. You failed your parents. You failed society. You don't belong in this community." He said people think grief is sadness, but it is not. It is rage. Pure, unfiltered rage. After the verdict, Jeff Metcalf sat down exclusively with CBS News reporter JD Miles. For the first time since this entire nightmare began, free to speak, free to say everything he had been holding inside. And the first thing he talked about was the morning after the verdict. He said, "When I woke up this morning, it was a very different feeling. I felt like £1 million had been lifted off my shoulders, because I used to wake up every single morning with anxiety, with dread, and this morning was the first day I woke up with a feeling of peace, comfort, tranquility that I had not experienced in 14 months. Jeff Metcalf described what it was like sitting in that courtroom every single day, just feet away from the young man convicted of killing his son. He said one word, challenging. Then he said something that surprised everyone. He said he even felt a little sorrow for Karmelo Anthony, because he is human. And he said, "That poor boy is fixing to experience a life that I would not wish upon anyone, a father who lost his son, feeling sorrow for the boy who took him." But the moment that broke everyone was when Jeff Metcalf described the body camera footage played inside that courtroom. He said what killed him was hearing his son Hunter, Austin's twin brother, screaming on that footage, oh God, my brother, my twin." He said as a parent, you always want to protect your kids, and to hear his son in that fear, in that voice, and not be there to fix it, was something no parent should ever have to experience. Jeff Metcalf also addressed the threats his family has received since the verdict. He said even today, on the day of this interview, he received death threats. His personal information has been posted publicly multiple times. Strangers have made swatting calls to his home, calling emergency services to send police to his address, as a cruel and dangerous prank. People have made memes about his dead son, made jokes, left vile comments. He looked into the camera and said, "I would hope they take a look in the mirror. And if you have children, and if it was your child who was murdered, would you like people dragging his name through the mud, making memes, making jokes, and just really vile comments?" Jeff Metcalf was also clear about one thing. This case was never about race. He said his son had absolutely no racist motives. When he approached Karmelo Anthony about leaving the track team tent that morning, he pushed back on those questioning the jury composition and the speed of the verdict. He said those are the same people who said Austin was jumped by 4 people, that his phone was broken, people who will spin whatever story they need to keep their narrative alive. On the subject of the 35-year sentence, Jeff Metcalf was direct. He believes Anthony should have received a life sentence, and he made a promise on camera. He said if Karmelo Anthony comes up for parole in 17 years, he will be there, in person, to argue against it. Then he paused and said, "If I am still alive, Yes, I will be there in person. If not, I am going to make a video that can be played even after I am gone. A father making a promise to his dead son that he will fight for him, even from beyond the grave. Inside the Metcalf home today, there is not a single wall without a photo or painting of Austin and his twin Hunter, his face everywhere, his memory kept alive in every room. A scholarship has been created in Austin's name, so that something good can grow from the worst thing that ever happened to this family. Jeff Metcalf said this is day one of a long healing process, because honestly, it has been impossible to start healing until this trial was complete. Now the trial is over. The verdict has been delivered, and Jeff Metcalf woke up this morning. For the first time in 14 months, feeling peace, he ended with something that will stay with anyone who hears it. He said he is ready to forgive, but not forget, and he wants people to understand what forgiveness really means. He said, forgiveness is not for him. Forgiveness is for me. So I do not carry the rage, the hate, around with me, because it will eat me up like cancer. A father who lost his son at a high school track meet, who sat silent for 14 months, who finally got to speak, and chose forgiveness, not for the man who killed his child, but for himself, so he could finally breathe again. This is DTCN, Daily True Crime News. Subscribe and turn on your notifications. We will continue covering every development of this story, every single day.